Yo, 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 yo. This is day 5 of our coding projects. Today, I'm still gonna continue on this flag game. I believe I want to finish it as much as possible before moving on to a new project. I learned that to be a data engineer, you have to learn the C coding language, which sucks because I started this whole project with JavaScript. And I think my plan will just be to finish this game off, make as many modes as possible, and then instead of actually making it look good and doing the HTML as well as I originally thought, I just skip over to the C language and try to learn from there and start a new project. Again, this is first and foremost for myself, so if people are watching, this isn't actually meant for people to watch. It's meant for my own learning experience, and I'm explaining things to someone because I think that's the fastest way for me to learn. Yesterday, or I believe it's 2 days ago actually, my voice is still pretty fucked because I've been screaming a lot today as well. I still have some alcohol in the blood, but hopefully we should be good enough. I made this filter yesterday, or the last time, where we literally just defined an array of all the countries that we believe are the actual countries, right? Like the 195 instead of the actual 250 plus objects that we had in the JSON array. And whenever we call for this function, it returns a like all the objects in this array, but it's not very, like, it's not 100% clear to me, so I'm actually gonna, before moving on, I'm gonna go to ChatGPT and ask it if it can explain it just a tiny bit better. Let's search ChatGPT to this, and let's try to find the correct one. I don't know if this is the correct one. Yeah, this should be the correct one. Yeah, this is okay. So I actually have a different one for the list. Wait. No, this is the code that we made last time. Let's do it like this. Yeah, so here we're waiting for the HTML code to run before we load the JavaScript. I remember making this as well. And we also made a home page and a game page whenever you click the button that we create. And we're calling these from the actual HTML code that we actually defined there. And this is actually a event listener, so yeah, as soon as the DOM is loaded, then this function starts. And then there's a click function event listener inside of this DOM event listener here, that says that whenever you click the button that we searched for here, that we defined in the HTML code, I believe it's right here, then it turns away, like it's the display attribute is to none, and the display for the game page is a block. So it basically just removes the home page and creates the game page. But yeah, let's try to understand this function a bit better here. I am listening to music, but the recording does not have it, so just something to keep in mind. Actual countries. Yeah. The all data is an array, so that's actually the JSON file that we created here, but because we used this fetch command, it took the country's name and redefined it as all the data. So all data, I'm guessing is like a, no, that's the parameter that we're using for the function here actually. So it will change name depending on what parameter we have, right? So if we use a different parameter, like if we use a function with a different parameter, then this will be changed to the data that is in the JSON file. And we can probably figure that out by finding out where we call for the function. So it's called get only countries. And we're calling for the countries here, right? And then we change the parameter from whatever it was here. Yeah, all data, and then we change it to data, which we declared up here is the actual countries of the JSON file that we call with this fetch function here. Yeah, it loaded from countries.json. These are the JSON file. .filter is a built-in JavaScript method that creates a new array by keeping only elements that pass a test. Does it reset parentheses? Okay, so it basically just says that we're creating a filter and then we're defining what the filter is inside of the parentheses, and the item and then the arrow thingy is yeah, that's an element. So we have items inside of the JSON file. All of these are different elements. Or I'm guessing it's the different objects. I guess the items are just the different things inside of the objects. That's the items, I'm guessing. And then it does like an arrow function to actual countries dot includes. So actual function it's the array right here, right? Yeah, that's the array. So it's taking all the items in the first JSON file array and turning them or switching them into item.names that is inside of the actual countries. Right? I'm really tired. Holy shit. It includes checks. One second, I'm gonna check something because I might need to redo the whole recording if it's not fixed. Yeah, it's not, so I gotta actually do it. There we go. Ugh, the fucking cable is getting blocked. It's annoying as fuck. Takes the name property from the current item. If item is this, then item.name is France, right? It's calling for the key name, which as you can see in the JSON file is a key here, which is the name of the object, or the country of the object. If item is name European Union, item name is European Union. all that makes sense to me. If actual countries that includes item name is true, the item is kept in the new array. If it's false, the item is ruined, right? So if we had an object where we actually didn't define the object with a, or where we didn't have a name key in the object, then it will just return false and not create that object. Yeah, so it's just going through the whole JSON array and checking whatever countries has these names as inside of the name key. If it doesn't, it's false and it doesn't include it, and if it does have it, it's true and it includes it. So it's pretty simple, really. First time I'm using this filter and includes function here, so that's pretty cool. So let's see in our Notion what we want to do for today. We made a point system and we're filtered out all the 9 countries. So now what I want to do is I want to create a mode where you can include all the territories, etc. Okay, I'm ready to move on. Now let's make the additional mode that includes all of the countries. In HTML, add 2 buttons on the home page. Yeah, so we need to first create the buttons to where we're gonna run the JSON file whenever you click those, right? So we're probably gonna use another button function, like another click function, like here. Probably gonna create some more of those. So let's go into HTML and let's create it right here. Should be button ID equals play. Oops, play. In your JavaScript, set it up so that clicking play menu runs this and runs this, right? So that's what we is doing. Yeah, we gotta create a or we gotta define the homepage IDs that we created, or in this case the play main and play full that we created in our HTML code. So let's do that. Play main. So I'm guessing we're gonna have the play full button and main button inside of the game page, right? So you click play and then you have the modes. I think that's what it's doing here, because I was originally thinking that the game page would be one mode, right? And that's why I thought we will only create one more variable or one more whatever you call this, like a variable or another button, or check for another ID, but we're actually checking for 2 more IDs. because it's not doing that. So again, document.get element by ID. It's checking for if there's any element with ID play main, and since we just created that in our HTML code, it's right play full right here, right? Did I create? No, I didn't create play main, so I need to actually create another one here. It's a bit weird that it doesn't show the last one. And I'm not sure if that means it's still leading it. Because it didn't look like it was still leading it in the HTML, in the JavaScript code, right? Play main. Play. Only countries. So now we define two more IDs, the play main and play full ID, which we use in our JavaScript code as like the trigger for when we run whatever code we are creating. And we have both of them done, but we have them in the wrong order. Now I'm not gonna live forever. Let's make it more clean like that, and we do a this. Oopsie daisy. We are so far up, holy. Then we're in the fetch function, and it's creating the response. It's filtering out the methods and creating all the real countries, which we already have done. How do I scroll back? There we go. Then get only countries. We already created this function. It's only countries. Wait, what? Wait, it changed it. So it's creating the array outside of the function. I don't know why. Let's create a filter countries. Get only countries of data. Yeah, and all countries equals data. And then on this event listener, the home play page is removed and the game page is created or shown. Start game function with the filtered countries starts. Okay, so we're using our earlier start game function that initiates all of our code for the like this is for the whole thing, right? Like with all the functions and everything. So we're initiating this and we're using the filter countries as an attribute, which is weird. So I'm guessing, yeah, I'm kind of confused because it doesn't show that this is inside of the, or it doesn't show that this is outside of the function. So maybe it's confused. Let's actually, before we move on, just give it the code. So I'm just making sure it knows what our code is, right? It's actually not that. Let's do this. This is my current code. I'm so tired. Go from here. Always filtered to only actual countries, and you've got one play button for starting the game. We can turn this into two selectable modes without breaking the logic. To remove the fetch from inside so that the start game can be given either the filter list or the full list. Remove the fetch from inside start game. What? Holy shit. How does that work then? How does the main function get the JSON data? Is that why it's added an attribute? I mean an parameter. We've already done this. Remove the fetch from inside start game so that start game can be given either the filtered list or the full list. Fetch the data once in DOM and common loader, create filter countries and all countries and pass the right one starting. So we're creating this event listener this we already created, and then we're just calling for the JSON data. And we are defining the actual countries array. We're defining the get only countries function here. Again, this is outside the start game function, which is still a bit confusing. You'll probably understand it later though. But yeah, we already went over this function. Filters out the data from whatever parameter we have. But we will be using the JSON data, of course. Then it creates the filtered countries where why the fuck is it doing this? What is it? What even is this? It's creating a variable that is a function, like a call to a function. What? I've never seen this before. This is really weird for me. So this function will return an array with only the objects that contains these names, right? And then it will be the filtered countries that contains all that data. That's what it's being assigned to. Okay, so it does make sense. I was kind of confused because I thought you would use this to call the function, but I don't know why I thought that was a weird thought. And then all countries obviously will be the whole data block that we have in our JSON file, which we created right here. We're creating an event listener whenever you click the play main button, and an event listener when you play the all button, and it's basically just opening the home and game page depending on which one you click, and starting the game depending on if you click the main button or the all button right here, and then it just starts the game with whatever parameter that you clicked, right? So it's actually pretty simple. And start game will, when we remove the fetch function, be called, I'm guessing the fetch will just have the data for the whole thing, which is interesting because it's pretty different than what we actually did, right? But it does make sense still. Does this make sense though? Put that. So I'm just gonna, before I check everything, I'm gonna just take the catch function as well. Just make sure that it's in the correct place. It should be, it should be down here. This will be removed because we won't call it like that. No, I think actually is gonna be outside here, like that. And we are creating the array here. Where is the array? Did we create it inside? Yeah, we're actually not using the function. We're just actually taking the array outside of the function. So we actually define it before we create, before we make the function. So that should be like instantly here. And then here. And then we instantly call the function. Which we created here. That creates the new array with all the objects that we want, right? Which is what we want, right? Just make it a bit more beautiful. Guess I love beautiful things. Then creating these variables and assigning it to the get only countries function. Where, yeah, that's the function we just defined. Const, that happen. Const filter countries get only choose data. Const all countries data. Just make sure it's oops. Then we have the play main button event listener, not the button event listener. So I'm guessing it just removes the actual button. Because that's what I thought it would do as well, but it didn't seem like it for some while. But it looks like it now as well. So we're just assuming that's what it's doing. And then we have the filter countries parameter in our start game function called. Is there a way I can just make this more beautiful? It looks so clumsy for me. So you have this here. Guess I can do that, right? Do this. I don't know. It's manually, I guess. So you have the play button and event listener with the start game with the filtered countries. So that will be the parameter for here. And I'm guessing it changes a lot of stuff in here as well, because now it doesn't actually have a parameter, right? So I'm guessing it updated that down there as well. Obviously, we got to add a new event listener as well, the play all button. Come on, yeah. Add event listener. Now you click, then this function will be called. First of all, the home page will be not removed, but like the display will be gone. And on the game page will be shown, right? Come on, come on. Why is this wrong now? There we go. I just fixed that spelling error there. That's... Why is this not... I think it's just because we haven't actually used this variable yet. Get started in here. Filtered in all countries. Yeah, we haven't defined the event listener for the all button press. The home page is set to none when you click this key, this button, and the and the home page is set to block, which is like how you show it through. And then it's calling the start game with all countries as a parameter, but again, we haven't actually defined it with a parameter, so I'm still a bit confused. We actually created it, I just created it in the wrong spot, or I just forgot I created it, I guess. But this should be functioning now, but yeah, the start game needs to have a parameter, right? So needs to be countries. Remove this, I guess. The function is just removing all this. Yeah, it just instantly asks for the shuffle array function. That's pretty easy to understand at this point for me. It calls for it instantly, of course, with the countries as the parameter, which we will have as yeah, we will have either the all countries or the filtered countries, which we have created here. Makes sense. And then here it is defining everything. Current index 0. Let's hint count. country, and then here it is creating a guess inputs, which is checking if there is an element with an input. No, it's creating an input element. Why is it doing that again? Wait, have we not created this already? Yeah, we have here. Yeah, I was confused because why would you create another element, right? But this is actually the element we created before, where it creates an input element. Type is text, which is string, and placeholder is enter content, and that's what's being shown on the web page, and then it appends it to the HTML body. Yes, input element, right? Then the guess button is like the exact same shit. It's a button element, so you don't have to. There's no input type because it's not an input. And then we're gonna delete this because we already defined them. And we have the score element made. We have the hint elements. And we have the get hint function here. We have the event listener here. That is really nice. And we have the if functions that checks how many points we need. Should be all good. Doesn't seem like there's anything else that I need to edit here. Seems pretty good. The show country function. Where's the show country function? Here it is. Oh, that's the one that let's just quickly repeat or call what this does. Creates the country, which is whatever country we're on. It's checking if we have a flag, an element with the ID of country flag. If it doesn't, it creates it. Appends it to the HTML. Creates the SRC and the alt. So let's just go back here. This is all good here. Guess input value gets reset there. Country index function is good. Can make this a bit clearer. Do this. And let's make this like that. And that it. Let's check now if it actually works. We'll run the code. Yeah, it does work for the button functions, at least. See if the functions actually go through. That's there. There's no button to go back, so we actually just need to restart and play. So the play all flags does not work. Let's check the console here. So it doesn't actually show anything, it seems like. Let's again look over in our JSON file. And we are play this is this one. And this is correct, it seems like for me. This should work as well, because it's defined correctly. Why is it not working? It looks good for me. Maybe this is wrong. Play full. Yeah, it should be play full, right? Do that. Let's actually delete this. No, we're not gonna delete that. So let's try to run the code. And it works. Nice. Let's try this one. Works. This one. Well, we don't actually need that one yet anymore, right? So I actually can delete it. All right. My first mode is now created. I just cut myself. That was really, that hurt a bit, but I'm really fucking tired, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I need to sleep today. Let's check the fucking. I have a bunch of shit tomorrow. So I actually do need to wake up pretty early. So I'm probably gonna go to bed soon. But yeah, make a mode for all countries and one for only real countries. So how do you write that? Territory. How do you write that shit? Territory. Like that. Territories and groups and one for only real countries. I'm gonna do one more thing before I go to bed. And I think I know what it is. I want to have a back button to quit each of the games. So let's try that. Let's just first give it the codes first. puts the player back to the home page. Here's the first step we'll take. We'll just create and display the button when start game is called. I feel like I can do this by myself, but I'm just so tired, bro. I don't know if I have the energy for it. I think I'm just gonna do it. Like, it's gonna be very easy code, obviously. So yeah, we gotta create the elements. We could probably do this in HTML, but it wants to do it here, so let's just do that then. Oh, it's one now. Going to append it like we're doing here. So it's actually in the HTML code. Let's just do that. Start game before current guest input. Oh. Why? But why here though? We're creating everything here. So everything gets created when you call the start game. Doesn't get created before. Which makes sense, right? Because you want it on the page whenever you start whatever game mode you want to start. Wait, this doesn't work, right? I mean, it doesn't have a function. Yeah. Since you already have two elements in your HTML homepage, game page, hide the game container game page, show the homepage container homepage. Clear anything in the game created so it doesn't stack when you're sorry. Start game with cancel logic. Yeah, an event listener, obviously. Like, I would have thought of that if I wasn't just fucking tired, bro. I'm just too tired, so I'm just gonna copy it. Like, I understand it instantly. Like, it's pretty easy code. Event, another event, listener. Click. Then you're checking the ID. So this is a weird part of the code. I've never seen this before. So it's checking the homepage ID and style displaying it as block. So it's like doing something as it's checking. Or not checking, but like calling for the ID. So when you're clicking the cancel button, the ID homepage style will be block and the style display will be none of the game page, which is basically just redefining these right here, right? So the homepage, which is here, will be set to block, and this will be set to none, right? I need to clear the so weird one as well. The document body inner HTML will be cleared. So everything we appended when whatever is inside the HTML code that we created in JavaScript jets is gone. Is that basically what it does? And it appends it clears it and appends the homepage, which is here. There are some bugs here, it seems like. Guessing the append shell it's talking about is the one we created in the function. I don't really understand this line either. It depends whatever is ID to the home page. Which we created here. Oh, we destroyed it. No, it's this one. It depends, this. Yeah, something is a bit weirder. I'm very tired, so I'm just gonna call it here. I can't even think straight anymore. But yeah, as a short conclusion, we made two modes with all the countries or all the objects in the array, which includes groups and stuff like that. It's like 250 plus countries or 250 plus objects. And then we created a just countries, which are the actual defined countries, which is like 195 or something like that. So let's end it here, and I think it is pretty I'm not even gonna bother to upload this before tomorrow because I need to do a lot of shit to do that, and it's gotta like gotta export. I gotta wait for it to process and stuff like that, and I'm just too tired. I just need to go to bed. So yeah, that's it, and we'll continue the grind tomorrow.